Hi friends, it's Walter, and today's video is on behalf of the Paper Escape Winter Retreat. I'm going to be an instructor at the retreat, and the video today is a thank you. A really big thank you to Gina K Designs and Catherine Pooler Designs for their very generous donations, which will go out to our platinum ticket holders. Gina K generously donated this wonderful kit that has 2 stamp and coordinating die sets, as well as a package of sequins. And Catherine Pooler donated a full-sized ink pad. And as I mentioned, each of our platinum ticket holders will receive these items. And so, without further ado, I decided to share with you a card that I created as a thank you to both Gina K and Catherine Pooler for their donations. I start with a darker pink A2 card base, and then I cut a 4 by 5.25 inch lighter pink card panel and a 3.75 by 5 inch white card panel. And I used a decal edge blade on my paper cutter to cut those 2 paper panels, but you could certainly use a straight edge if you'd like. The design that I came up with for these products is I'm going to have the butterfly in the center, but I'm also going to stamp it coming up from the lower left corner and coming down from the upper left corner. And so I decided to stamp in the corners using a lighter shade of pink. And so I used a Simon Hurley ink, since I didn't have a lighter Catherine Pooler ink, to go ahead and stamp that image. And I don't have the full stamp of the butterfly coming up. It's just a bit of it, because I didn't want to overpower the entire background. So after stamping in the lower right-hand corner, I went ahead and stamped in the upper left-hand corner. I then wanted to also stamp the image using the darker Catherine Pooler Be Mine pink ink, and I stamped that in the center. Now I am going to be stamping it a second time and die cutting that second image out, but I like to have the image also appearing on the panel so that I know exactly where I'm going to place it, and so that it also acts as a shadow to the die cut one. So after stamping it onto another piece of white cardstock, I aligned my butterfly coordinating die and cut it out. I always make sure to use some low-tack tape so that my die doesn't shift. Once it was cut out, I was able to move on to my next step. At this point, I started to assemble my card. I put some double-sided tape onto the back of the light pink card panel and set it into place on my A2 card base. And then I went ahead and took my stamped white card panel, put some double-sided tape onto the back of it, and set that into place onto my card. I slightly bent each of the wings upwards where they meet the middle portion of the butterfly, and then put some double-sided foam tape onto the back of it, removed the backing from the tape, aligned it with the image on the card panel, and went ahead and set it into place. Tweezers are always helpful for getting the backing off of that foam tape. I then grabbed the rest of my white cardstock from the butterfly cutout and stamped my sentiment words. I decided to go ahead and, since this is a thank you, use warm wishes, my friend. And I used the coordinating dies to cut those out. Once again, using some low-tack tape to keep my dies in place so that they didn't shift as I put them through my die cut machine. And once they were through the machine, I removed the tape and removed my sentiments, and then put some double-sided foam tape onto the back of each of them, removed the backing, and set them into place on my card. Those tweezers really do come in handy. I like to break up the sentiment so that it's not just all in one place, as it draws your attention really down the card panel. The last step was to use some of these beautiful sequins, and so I put some drops of glue randomly onto my card panel, and then used my jewel grabber tool to set them into place. I love the extra sparkle that these provide, and they're a nice alternative to doing ink splattering. I love to ink splatter, but these sequins really add that extra touch and elevate the design. I hope that you enjoyed this design and got some inspiration. And once again, thank you, Gina K. and Catherine Pooler.